Today I'm going to do one of the most delicious looking Mexican dishes. It's going to consist of ground beef with mushrooms, onions, and garlic. And we're going to have some tortillas involved in it with some cheddar cheese. But we also have a secret ingredient to top it off. Wait till you see this. Let's get started. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Diabetic Diet Show. We need to get started with our hamburger. So I've been buying this grass-fed 85% lean lately. It's pretty nice. It has less grease and fat. And you want to get this cooking, because this takes the longest part of the meal. There we go. Get your burner warming up. And of course, with ground beef, you want to start to break it up as soon as you put it in the pan. And because this is lean, I think I'm just going to pour some oil around the outside. Not really inside the middle, but just around the outside. That way, if I need it, I can kind of roll it in a little bit. Now while that cooks, we'll get a few things ready. I need to work on the onions and the tomatoes. You can use a couple of big tomatoes if you want. I like to buy cherry tomatoes. They're a lot sweeter, they taste a lot better, and of course you can cut them up like this with a knife if you want. Just cut them up nice and small. Scoop them up like that. But what really works best for me is to use the scissors. I can get them a lot thinner with the scissors than I can with a knife. Okay, those are all set and ready to go. Okay, now onion. So let's work on this. Of course, we're going to cut off the root and the tail. Get rid of that. Cut it in half. And because I'm going to use my slicer, I'm cutting it twice. Then I'll get rid of the jacket. I'm going to cut them one more time for the slicer. I don't think it matters whether I cut them across one side or another, just so they fit in there so it's not so much on the slicer. There we go. It's a lot faster than cutting them up by hand. There you go. Just like that. Let's do some mushrooms. So I'm going to grab a handful of mushrooms. Start cutting them up. I know it looks like you're doing large pieces when you're cutting them like this, but if you don't, they'll burn. Plus remember, they shrink. This is going to be really delicious with this cheddar cheese. That looks delicious. Our package of tortillas. And one neat thing about the ground beef is it's simple. Salt, pepper, as much salt and pepper as you want to put in as you normally put in for your family. Set that off to the side. Then have a pie pan. And with the pie pan, what you want to do is to put your tortillas in here. So here's your tortillas. You want to soak these. Just like this. And of course, pick whatever kind of tortillas you want. This particular one is spinach herb tortillas. These should be good. You only need a couple of these. Then, on the ground beef, we need some garlic powder. You want to do about a palm full of garlic powder. And basil, one of my favorite. Every time I have basil, I always think of a pizza. And I'm going to do a couple of these because I really do like basil. Thank you to Barb for arranging all my spices for me. I'm still kind of trying to arrange them. I would think some people would do them alphabetical. What I like to do is whatever I use regularly kind of have near the end. So, these tortillas, kind of turn them over here. We just want them to soak a little bit. Ground beef is cooking. It's not done yet, but looking better on the first side. I got to get these onions in here. And I think the measurement of the onions, sometimes it's too much. So I would say maybe a layer across the top would be enough. Starting to disappear the pink. You know, you can pull this out if you really want to be precise about it. And of course, in a restaurant, they would have to do this. They would have to pull the meat out and check it with a thermometer. At some point, they got to check it. I'm at 157, 158, so it's beef, it's almost done. So let's get these mushrooms in here. Just let these onions work. Wow, does this smell good? The onions are starting to get a little bit translucent. The mushrooms are starting to absorb a little bit of the juice there. And you can add all kinds of crazy things to this. You could put in some beef broth if you want. You can put in spaghetti sauce if you want. There are lots of things you could do with this recipe to modify it. But here's the next step. We need to do some eggs. So let's get our eggs ready. And I am going to break it on a flat surface and break it hard. I heard that if you try to break them on the side, you could force bacteria inside the egg. Let those sit a second while I wash my hands. Next, I want to put a little bit of salt and pepper in with the eggs. Then, I want to whip them up a little bit. There we go. Those are all whipped up. Now, this ground beef, this has to be really fine. It's looking like it's done, and I'm going to use a spoon with teeth. And you could use a slotted spoon to do this. There isn't really much grease in the bottom, but I just wanted to check it and make sure, because I don't really want to take any of the grease out of the pan and put it in my glass bowl. Now, the next step to this is to take your wet tortilla, place it in the bottom, just like that, for about a minute. I want to flip it over as soon as it starts to get warm. Then I want to put some ground beef on it, right in the center. Then I have some cheese. I'll put on here. Take the next tortilla, put that on top. It's hot. It's good. Some tomatoes. I didn't do the tomatoes right away because I want them to be steamed a little crunchy. And then I can take and put a little bit more cheese on top. Then I can take and pour my egg all over it. I put a lid on it to help melt the cheese, and it smells delicious. You know how food is, when you can smell it, it's done. Just kind of go around the lip a little bit. Just make sure it's ready to roll. Here's my pan, just like that. Maybe straighten it a little bit. Well, maybe it won't straighten. But that's what it looks like. And it looks and smells delicious. And I think what we'll do is we'll put some sour cream up on top of this. Because I think when I have a dish like this, I have to have sour cream. And it'll start to kind of melt a little bit in there. Yes, this is going to be delicious. Well, folks, that's the show for the day. I hope you've enjoyed watching us cook. And be sure to come back